Hey guys, welcome back. Staring from Staring Gaming here. Today we're running the raid known as the Terrace of Inland Spring. This was, I believe, the second raid you really could get into once you got into the Mist of Pandaria expansion. As you can see, this is pretty straightforward, a straight line to all the bosses. Now I'm going to put up my quest log there. As you can see, one of the bosses is actually fighting the final boss, which is the Shah of Fear. Our first bosses are sitting right from there, but to get them active, you have to destroy all four of these ads here. But let's bring up their chart. And again, I am running this on heroic, so there will be some abilities. The first boss fight is known as Protectors of the Endless. Now I have Shock Corruption. Killing one of them causes eruption to explode from the bodies and possess the other Shah. Corruptors. Or Protectors, whatever you want to call them. It heals them to max health and increases their damage 25%. And you can only kill one at a time, as you can see, because if you kill one, whatever they go right back to full HP, so you focus fire one at a time in order to do things. Now we're going to go right here to the heroic difficulty spec. Now, Minions of Fear, they pour from the terrors that are pursuing the Protector with the lowest remaining health. Now, when the Minion of Fear dies, it affects the closest player with Corrupt Essence, increasing their damage done by 10 for 2 minutes, and it can stack up to 10 times. Now, if it stacks up to 10, it replaces the Corrupted Essence with the Essence of Fear. Now, in 25 difficulty Heroic, the Essences can affect 5 players. The Essence of Fear will inflict shadow damage to all players within distance. Basically, the whole raid will take shadow damage. Now, when a Minion of Fear actually reaches one of the Protectors, it fills them with greater Corrupted Essence, increasing their damage by 10 for 3 minutes, and it stacks up to 5 times, so they get 50% increase. If it ever does reach the Protector and he get more than 5 stacks, it replaces them with the greater Essence of Fear, which is a very deadly ability. Basically, the Protector will explode, doing massive shadow damage and fearing everyone for 3 seconds. Which means a tank could pretty much get one-shotted then afterwards, because for 3 seconds, they can't be healed. Now we're going to go and look at each of these guys. Protector Colin, I said Colin, we're just going to call him Cal, or Lan, or whatever we call him. The Protector here corrupts a player, inflicting shadow damage every 3 seconds until he's defeated. Now the Final Ground, he gets this ability if he's one of the people still standing after you kill another. Now, he'll be able to desecrate the land beneath him for the remainder of the fight, putting a shadow pool down, and increasing the damage they take from it if they stand in it by 10%, and it will stack up pretty fast. Now, if he's the last one standing, he gets this ability, known as he'll expel Master Corruption at his location for the remainder of the fight, inflicting damage to all players within distance for a second and a half. The further you're away from this, the less damage you take. So you kind of want to space these out if you're going to fight him last. Now, El Regal here is more or less a shaman, elemental. His basic ability is Lightning Bolt, which you can interrupt. Lightning Prison is he'll imprison 2 players in a field of lightning to stun them. It inflicts damage to every player within distance of it, but on 25 heroic player, he'll imprison 3 players instead of 2. Now, Lightning Storm is when he gets a charge of Shock Corruption. He summons this Lightning Sword that sends several waves of lightning strikes. First wave's going to strike him, and then strike in successive rains. Basically, you'll see a giant lightning ring forming around them. Just don't stand in them, and you won't take damage. So, now, if he's the last one standing, he gets this ability, which he inflicts shadow damage to all players every 3 seconds and increases their damage taken by overwhelming corruption, and will stack. And remember, it takes 10% increase, so this thing can stack and wipe you pretty fast. Now, the last Elder Asane here has the ability known as Water Bolt. He'll hurl random water damage at someone. Cleansing Waters, he'll summon this in the center more or less, or at its location. When the globe reaches the ground, it heals all targets for 5% of the health every second. Now, you can't destroy this, if you want to. The globe should be destroyed on spawn, so. Now, if he gets ability of Dose of Shock Corruption, and let me rephrase, Cleansing Water is not what I was thinking about. It was the Corrupting Waters about the spear. Because once you destroy that, you get Purified, which will boost you by increasing your melee range of speed spell casts by 25%. Now, if you don't destroy it, all the current bosses that are still up will grant them 75% melee and speed casting. So you really want to destroy whatever they spawn, more or less. Now, overwhelming corruption is what happens when he's last one standing. Basically, just like the last one, you'll take AoE damage till he goes down and stacks up and increases in damage. Now, the achievement for this boss here is pretty simple, I believe. Now, you see, the ability is starting. You have to destroy all the Shaw Corruptors here, or known as Apparition of Terra, Fear, another Terror. Now, these guys can spawn ads if you don't kill them fast enough. Be a little Shawleys running around. They're easily AoE down. And like I said, luckily I'm high level, so I'm able to run in and just one-shot. Now, let's see if my Elemental Ash can one-shot. It was close. Probably if I power up my mage a bit more here, it'll get stronger. And now, as you see, they're becoming fully corrupted, so now you'll engage them.
The Terrace was not meant for your kind.
I'm going to take out the Protector first.
A storm approaches. I command the elements to destroy you! You cannot escape the storm!
Now, you see, I've been purified, and here is his Lightning Ring ability. As the Purified increases my spell. Now, as you see, the minion Fear spawns on Heroic. You don't want to let him get nearby. Now, as you see, the Lightning Prison stunned me, but even as a mage, you can blink and you're still going to have it on you. Now, let's see what happens when he gets to him. See, he got crap. That's why you got to keep those ads away. They will be running from up here, so if you keep bosses back in here, you're good.
Must not fall.
Come on, loot.
No, the waters. I must resist. I shall not fear.
Now, our next boss here just got corrupted by the Shao of Fear, known as Sulong. Sulong, yes. Now, there's two different phases in this fight. One known as the night and one known as the day. Now, I don't know if he has a line here. We'll wait a moment for him to land. Okay. Well, you will start, I believe you start the night fight out at night phase. If you bring him down to 0 while at night phase, you win this fight and destroy the Shaw influence. Now, when he gets to 100 energy, he'll purge the Shaw influence, which will turn the phase into night, today. But during the night phase, he has the abilities known as Dread Shadow. It creates a shadow within him, inflicting shadow damage to all players, and making them take increased damage from Dread Shadows. Nightmares is a magic effect which projects a nightmare at a random player's location, inflicting shadow damage and fearing players within a certain distance of the impact zone. Shadow Breath is something the tanks need to be worried about, which is a 30-degree cone shadow breath, which increases the damage they take from it for 100%. This is why you need to make sure the tanks are separated. This isn't where you both stand together and take this, because you'll need to switch off after. Back then it was every 2 to 3 breaths you needed to switch off or you would be destroyed. Now, Sunbeam is actually the effect you want to keep your eye out for, because this will help you. He'll try to resist the Shah inside him and protect you as you're fighting from the Dread Shadows. This is how you get rid of that debuff, more or less. The Sunbeam will grant you immunity to Dread Shadows when you're staying in a beam. But it will shrink over time the more players stand in it. So, the more you stand in it, the faster it despawns. Now, the Dark of Night appears at the random location moving towards the nearest Sunbeam. Now, if this gets near them, if the Dark of Night gets near them, which you see it's just a bit of a shadow orb, more or less, it will destroy the Sunbeam. And this is only on heroic difficulty. Now, like I said, when he got to 100% of his night energy, you go to the day. Now, during this part of the phase, you need to heal him and bring him to full health. If you do that during the day phase, you also win. But if he gets to 100 energy during this phase, it goes back to the night phase, where you have to fight him. So remember, in night phase, you need to knock him down to 0. In day phase, you got to get him to 100% health. But the bonus is, in day phase, as you're healing him, and when it goes to night, whatever much you healed him will count towards damage you do at night. So if you heal him for 10% during the day, at night he'll have 10% less health than before he went to day phase. But during the day, you're going to be actually fighting the Shah. Now the Embodied Terror will spawn to control him. Now when you destroy this, they spawn 5 fright spawn to come out. Now they try to terrorize a random player onto him. It inflicts 4% of your health as shadow damage in. You need make sure these guys don't get near him, because he'll actually lose health if they get near him and explode. These fright spa have a fear ability, which will just inflict shadow damage and fear players within a certain distance. Now unstable shot are the ones that will move towards him. And if they get to him, he's going to lose health, and it'll make the fight much more of a pain. Now the unstable bolt here is shadow damage inflicted at the target. But it also damages the unstable shot for 15% of his maximum health. So it's a double-edged blade, as you would say. Now instability, now if it reaches to him, it's going to inflict some massive damage on him and just despawn. So all the healing you do could get destroyed if one of these get to him. Now he has Sun Breath, which is actually a beneficial thing that healers need to be able to get into. They need to take the Sun Breath during the day phase, because they'll get bathed in light, which restores 25% of their mana, increases their healing by 500% for 6 seconds. But the Bathe of Light can also damage or even destroy the Shah and stun them for 8 seconds. Now, Light of Day on Heroic will appear at a random location. Interacting with it restores your mana every second for 6 seconds and increases your healing by 1,500. So that's when your best healer needs to grab that and just unleash. It just unleash all their heals they can in that duration. And as you can see, the amount of mana restored increases while the healing done decreases over the duration of the effect. Now the achievement for him, as you can see, there's an enchanted plant behind me. This plant actually is healable. During the night phase, it starts to lose HP. So if a healer keeps this up, and if that tree is still standing at the end of this fight, you unlock an achievement for it.
You do not belong here. The waters must be protected. I will cast you out or slay you.
Now as you see, Dread Shadows is gone, and I'm immune to it. And there you see I took the Shadow Breath. Now while I'm out here, I'm taking constant damage. Now this could build up and do some nasty stuff to you. You can actually see the plant is getting hit by Dread Shadows themselves.
I thank you, strangers. I have been freed.
Now as you see, it says, who got 2-3 thumbs? That's because I kept the plant alive during this fight. Now the next boss will spawn once you destroy all these elementals. But you need to make sure either you interrupt or defeat them fast, because they'll start casting a certain ability, which if they complete the cast, they go back to full HP. Now, unfortunately, my power is a little bit But Lei Shi here is the next one, which is she basically is a water elemental or water spirit in Pandaria. So start flickering, and we'll wait for her to spawn in order to explain her fights. There she goes. Now, since we're on heroic, there's a heroic specific thing here known as Scary Fog. Basically, Shaw Essence coalesces around several players, inflicting shadow damage every second for 35 seconds. In addition, players or enemies near the afflicted player take 10% more damage from all sources, and it stacks. A target may only be afflicted by one Scary Fog. So basically, you can't stack them on the boss here. But it's useful because if you want to do some extra damage, have someone who has that standing of this boss. But we're going to get to this. The boss actually has percentages abilities at 80, 60, 40, and 20. She gets an impenetrable bubble. You can't do nothing. And you have to destroy the elementals you saw earlier to stop it. All you have to do is destroy one elemental, and it should be over with. As you see, focus fire 1, shield goes down. Now, getaway here is basically she inflicts a push away that does periodical shadow damage. But if you fight against the current, but basically if you keep trying to go towards her while getting pushed away, you take half damage. Now, it stops after 45 seconds or until you do 4% of her maximum health to her in damage. So that's why you need to push away. So unfortunately, casters like myself, unless they have an ability that lets us do a free cast while moving, are going to have to use our instant cast abilities or risk taking some heavy shadow damage. Now hide, she'll basically do a vanish, and players can't get to her while she's hiding. But AoE attacks that land on her will revere her, and she will still be attacking while she's hidden. So that's the problem. So you need to run around like me using Arcane Explosion, Frost Orb, Blizzard. You need to find out where she's hiding. She will be within the boss area here. So you have to be running around the water and all that stuff to find her. Once she's hit by AoE, you don't have to worry about her just randomly splashing people. Now spray cast instead of using melee attacks. It causes a wobbly burst to come from the ground at the player's feet, inflicting frost damage in anyone within a small distance of the impact. But it also increases the frost damage taken by 10. Now afraid, as she grows more afraid of the player's hurt her, she gains increased casting speed for every 10% she loses. So she can get up to 72% casting speed when she hits 10% less of her health. So you got to be sure that you have CDs you can burst after you do the last protect at 20%. That's when you should probably burst everything you have on her to burn her down fast. Now, we're probably going to end up having to do all the phases.
I need to target something first.
So I'm going to launch my Ebon Bolt and see what happens.
What are you doing here?
Ooh.
It was so cloudy.
I did not think I was going to pull that off. I thought we at least fight one phase of the elementals. But if you could blast her within, let's say, 2 to 3 seconds of the initial fight down to 0, you're golden.
I have to go now.
It's too far away.
Yay, I got an item. And this is one of the weapons a lot of people like because it was a Shaw corrupted type of weapon.
I have to make the water not cloudy anymore. Will you help?
I kind of like this one here. And the sword, because the sword looked like it had its own mouth. Now, the Shaw of Fear is a unique fight. Now, the Terrace of the Endless Springs. The name of the instance and everything.
Your lights will go envelop you, and you will fear the shadows that move within it.
Now, as you see, the water elemental there went up and put a little shield, pool of light there. The pure light is something the tanks need to stand in. It'll form a V formation of light that everyone should be standing in. Now, the Shaw of Fear is going to fixate whoever's in there, so only tanks should be in the pure light at all freaking times. Now, the wall of light here reduces players' damage by 10% from all sources. It also deflects the Shaw of Breath's fear attack from its Breath of Fear. Basically, if that shield isn't up when he casts this, you're feared for 5 seconds, and he takes some massive shadow damage. Now, Thrash, on every one of his 4th attacks, he strikes 3 times. Now, Lei Shin's Hope. Now, as you can see, Lei Shin's Hope, as you force Shaw to retreat to the Dread Expanse, attack and cast speeds are increased by 50% on basically on every attempt. Now, if there's no one, let's see, so the Shaw strikes a distant target, inflicting 50% weapon damage to Shadow, increases the damage they take. Now, if no one's standing there for him to take damage, basically means if no one's standing within that well of light, he's just going to start going after people. He'll just start destroying. Now, he's going to summon up Terrace spawn periodically, which casts Penetrating Bolt. It goes at a random person, but you have to go out of the wall of light in order to defeat them. If you're melee or range, you can stay in there. You need to take them out as fast because they can give you a nasty stacking shadow increase debuff, so you don't want that. Now, Eerie Skull, he'll throw it at a random location and do shadow damage at the impact point. Now, the Ominous Crackle, whoever gets hit by this more or less, they're going to get teleported to these outer rings here, which are these 2 little buildings here, to battle a Guardian. You take out this Guardian and teleport back here, you'll have a small little boost to your damage during that fight. And here is the outer shrines. He'll shoot and do 75% web damage to you. A magic effect known as Dread. He'll fire basically a volley in a specific direction for 8 seconds. He'll be immune to taunt. It basically fires in a cone, so just don't stand in the code. And if you do, you get 2 stacks of this, you get feared. Death Blossom is just an AoE that he'll do damage to everyone for 5 seconds, which inflicts physical damage. A Shock Globe, every time you knock these out, as he loses health, touching the globe will consume it, inflicting shadow damage, but restoring your primary resource. But if it's not, basically if you don't grab these within 8 seconds, he gets back healed for 8% of his health. So you need these to get a boost to your energy, pain, rage, mana. Get these to boost back up your resource. Now after you defeat them, you get this ability known as Fearless. When you return, you get an increase of 6% damage and healing and movement speed, and you're immune to fear for 30 seconds. Now Heroic, there's a specialty phase known as the Dread Expanse. When he hits 60% health, you get dragged along with him. It's a watery wasteland where it gives them a new abilities. Fading Light heals players as they extinguish, destroying 9% of their health and mana in 6 seconds. It also reduces all cooldowns. Now, Pure Light, it's an uncorrupted light from the Terrace binds itself to the current champion. It grants them immunity to damage taken, fear, and horror effects. Now, you can use this ability to transfer it to another target, which you want to do, honestly. Now, Thread Thrash, just like his other one, is every 6th attack he does. Actually, never mind. It's every 4th attack he strikes 6 times. So you gotta be prepared for when that's coming up to have some damage reduction active. This implacable strike in a direction of the current target, inflicting damage up to pretty much everyone, more or less. Naked and Afraid he'll basically strip gear from the current target, reducing their armor and chance to dodge and parry. This is when you need to taunt in order to make sure that tank don't die. Now, Water Spout, he'll basically he'll piss off the water underneath you and create a series of water spout. It'll take a second and a half to form and explode, inflicting frost damage within a certain distance. Huddle and Terror, the Shah terrifies players, causing them to cower in fear, inflicting damage every second for 12 seconds. Now, the Shah will disappear below the surface of the Dread Expanse Rift, and then emerge under a plane and player, inflicting frost damage to everyone within a certain distance. The Shah will also summon an increasing number of Dread Spawns every time they emerge. It'll basically, this Dread Spawn will fixate on the Champion of Light. Now, if this Shah gets to the person who has that buff, they die instantaneously. So, if you're about to get hit by one of these and you're a Champion of Light, you need to chuck that to someone else. And that way, you're safe. Because these Dread Spawn will actually get increased the movement speed. But if you throw this to another player, it resets. They also have the Shah Spawn, which does shadow damage to random players. Now, we're going to get in here, and I'll show you what the wall of light looks like.
You will know fear.
Now, as you see, I'm going to get pulled into the Dread Expanse.
Easy to vanquish.
Now, as you see, I can't move due to having this on me. Now, I think the Shah's going to die. Never mind, my spark wore off him. We're just going to activate this. We're going to... Never mind. My elemental decided to end him. But you can't move while that purifying light's on you. And there will be randomized enemies. Those little spawns will come up, and you need to be careful. But also the achievement here known as Mind Killer. You defeat them on normal heroic without anyone being feared by Dread Spread or Breath of Fear, which is pretty easy to achieve. And as you can see, also another hint, I believe if you were to take a picture within the expansion here with the Shah of Fear, I believe this unlocks this filter up here for your selfie camera. Now to get out of here, you can't see it too well, but there's a little ball of light right here that you just click on, and it'll teleport you back. You also, while you're in here, you get this little buff here known as Fearless, which gives you a speed boost and a little glowing behind you. You can always go back to the Expanse by clicking on this, as you can see. But guys, this has been the Terrace of Endless Springs. I hope you enjoyed and understood this boss fight. Like I said, this has been a Sam from Mysteria Gaming, asking you to please like and subscribe and head over to my Twitch channel and hit that follow button. Like I said, my goal is to get partner YouTube and affiliate to partner on Twitch, start getting funds to make both these channels even better for everyone. I hope to see you guys in the next video.